Hi, I'm Nicole Smithy. I'm the co-founder of Iridescent Women, an online community committed to awakening brilliance in each other through real and honest conversations and connections. And I'm so excited because for today's discussion, I have a very special guest with us, Pastor Gabby Wilkes. She is a faith leader, brand strategist, Renaissance woman, and she's also going to be featured coming up soon on a podcast episode, so stay tuned for more details. But I wanted to start a conversation with you today and just ask the question, why does representation matter?
Big question.
It is a big question. You go in a lot of directions.
Right. Representation how?
Well, okay, so let's talk about you as a Black woman. And for example, pastor. Maybe a lot of people wouldn't associate a woman of color having that, right? And clearly that's one that could be. I think I'm really interested in hearing your take on representation when it comes to minorities, specifically for you as a Black woman, seeing representation in different industries where you actually have a voice at the table in their decision-making power, right? So leaders in different fields and different industries, from the entertainment industry to education to politics.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's a big conversation. I think it's definitely necessary for people to be at the table who represent the demographics being served. Yeah. And so one of the reasons why I asked is because representation is such a large conversation. Yeah. There's also a conversation around representation and also inclusion. So diversity and inclusion are also like buzzwords that are being used, and kind of this idea of like, okay, you have somebody at the table, are they able to also be included in how decisions are being made and why? So I think for me, certainly as a Black woman, I think that it's important to have folks at the table that look like me, but not just because they look like me. And I think that's relevant, right? So I think sometimes corporations kind of check a box where they're like, I have someone of this race, I have someone of this orientation, I have someone of this whatever, I'm good.
We've reached our quota.
We've reached our quota, like a token person in the room. And it's not always a given that person of that social location is desirous of advocating for that demographic. And so that's why representation by itself is not enough. Because just because there's a Black woman at the table doesn't mean that Black woman wants to advocate for other Black women. Right. And so a lot of times what happens with minority groups is that because we are oppressed so much, oppressed people can begin to look like the oppressor in the sense of we want so badly to be included that sometimes when we're at the table, we're there, but we don't want to speak on behalf of our race. We don't want to speak in behalf of our gender. Exactly. Right. And so sometimes that can cause even more harm because that person at the table doesn't want to rock the boat. So when people of other races say to them, hey, Pastor Gabby, you're a Black woman preacher. What do you think about other Black women preachers? Well, I have two options right there. I could either say, oh, we're good, don't worry about us, which makes them feel good.
Let's not rock the boat.
Or I can say, actually, you probably need more Black women preachers in this room to get a better example, to get a better answer, because I, as one person, cannot represent all of us. Which then makes the other folks feel uncomfortable because they're like, that's why we have you. Right. And then, quiet as it's kept, me as one person in that room, I then have to go back to my community and I face friction in my community because they're like, well, what did you say about us? How did you represent us? And so it's a complex conversation. So I think that, representation is important, but it's important to have representation based on the goals that you're trying to accomplish. So not just someone that looks the part, but someone who really is centering advocacy for the demographic they represent. And when you have those folks at the table, that's when they say uncomfortable things that make people with power have to shift how they're engaging that particular demographic. And that's when it actually matters and makes change.
So I love that perspective. Thank you for sharing. And what I'm picking up on is just the messiness. It's gonna get uncomfortable. If we really want more diversity and inclusion, then we have to be comfortable being uncomfortable and to make the changes that come from those kind of honest conversations. Right. And I also really love the perspective of just, hey, not everybody wants to be an advocate. Yeah. And we can't thrust that upon them or expect them to be that. Exactly. And then we can also champion the ones that really do and support them well. Oh, this is so good. Yeah. You're so smart. I can't wait to talk to you more on the podcast.
That would be you. I can't wait to talk to you on the podcast. But no, thank you for having me. And it's just, I love that. It's messy.
It is messy. Life's messy, but that's how progress gets made.
Absolutely.
Thanks for this conversation. Yeah. And hey, we really believe that these kind of conversations have the power to provoke change. So we want to keep hearing from you. Let us know what you think. What's been your experience with representation? How important has it been to you? Have you been in those messy spaces before? Let's keep the conversation going, and let's keep moving this conversation forward. Also, hey, remember, you have a great story to tell, so share your story, own your voice, and keep it real.